Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here with our Eibar career mode, and a very exciting episode we have against us. We're going to be playing against Real Madrid, Real Sociedad, and also our replay of the cup match against Malaga. The games were pretty good. You guys are going to see some good gameplay. You can see that this is a little bit of a longer episode than I'm usually been getting out to you guys, but a lot of exciting stuff happened in these games, and it was a good episode all around. I did a lot of the same training over these next few games. I had a lot of training sessions I was able to do, and I just wanted to work on these 5 players and their skills as much as possible, just trying to rank them up. You'll see closer to the end of the episode, all these players get really close to fully maxing out their potential. You see here I have a player, Ryan Zokora, who has pretty good potential, 71 to 91. I think his overall is 61 is what it ended up coming out to be. A little bit later in the episode, I do go ahead and sign him up to the squad. He looks to be a pretty good midfielder that I'm kind of excited about, so I wanted to go ahead and sign him up and make sure I got him in our training sessions in the future. Here in the Real Madrid game, pretty early on into the game, it felt different playing against this team. Kind of the same thing with when I played Barcelona. The only problem I always find in FIFA when you play these Road to Glories with these smaller teams is the big teams don't respect you ever, regardless of where you are in the table, so they play these weaker squads against you, and not even the smaller clubs, because whenever I play with Arsenal, sometimes when I play up against Man City or Manchester United, not really Manchester United, but mainly Manchester City, they always play a weaker team against me, and it allows me to actually pull points off of them a lot easier, and they do the same thing here. As you see, an ugly foul in the box gives me a really good chance in this game. I go 1 up here, and they're down to 10 men, and to be honest, looking back at this game, I should have taken more advantage of the 10 men that they did have, because they never replaced their right back. So that right side of the field was pretty open, minus the fact that Bale was there. That's the main reason I kind of avoided that side in this game, because obviously, as most of you guys I'm sure know, Bale did play back in the defense in the earlier days of his career, and they actually did pretty well in this game to make his strength and defending skills pretty high, in all honesty, and allows him to actually get back and defend really well. So I was kind of avoiding that side and really playing more down the middle of the field. As you guys saw, obviously, in that last episode, I was still pretty confident in my free kick, so I wanted to take another one here and try, even though it was a little further out, and I almost did get it. I think a little bit more power, I think I would have hit that upper right, left corner rather, and I think I could have hit that and it would have been a beautiful goal. But nonetheless, it was a pretty good shot, so I wasn't too worried about missing that opportunity. Winding down the first half, there really wasn't much going on. Like I said, I don't think I really took advantage of that left side of the field as much as I should have, because obviously, they shifted their team a little bit, and I think I could have really taken advantage of that 10 men if I would have attacked that side of the field. But going down the middle, it still didn't hurt too bad. I was able to boss the midfield a little bit because they were playing a little bit more scared in their defense. And it left massive holes and gave me opportunities that I just wasn't able to really take. A little bit further on to this game, you're going to see, I believe, at this point they brought on Isco and one other player. Ronaldo doesn't come in until like the very end of the game. He may be in now as I'm talking at this part in the video, but you can see in the 85th minute, I could tell they put all out attack and they were just going for it. So I brought on Vardy. He has a lot of pace. He hasn't been playing very well in the last couple of games, but I knew his pace could tear apart the defense. So he comes in, and the counter attack with him is disgusting. I get a 2-0 lead right at the end of the game. With 3 minutes left, I knew I wrapped up the 3 points, and I managed to take out the top 2 teams in the league. As this game stands, it was actually a battle for 5th and 6th between Eibar and Real Madrid. So it was actually really good to get this point, because I do end up taking over that 5th place spot after this game, and Real Madrid's just having a shocker of a season. Maybe even the game knows that Rafa Benitez is not the manager they need at Real Madrid. Right here you see I had another opportunity, almost locked away another goal with Verdi. Just the cross is a little off and his left foot is terrible. If you guys ever use him or do an Eibar career mode, just know if you try to shoot with his left foot, it's going to go into the stands every time. As you see, our wonder kid of a left mid, Inui, pulls the ball away, which he is able to do so often in this career mode, and he's honestly one of my favorite players in the squad. So I'm definitely going to be looking to get him into the squad next season after his loan runs out, I believe. But he does slide it away for Vardy to smash another goal into the back of the net and gave me a 3-0 lead right at the very end of the game. So managed to pull out a 3-0 win against Real Madrid. I was feeling really confident. Like I was saying in the last episode, this is my first game in about a month. I played a couple games before this, just some kickoff games trying to get comfortable, and I tied one game and lost another. So coming into this career mode, I wasn't really sure if I was adjusting to the patch well. It feels like the game's a little bit faster, which is nice. And obviously there's not so much flukiness going on, which is really good to see. It's a much more comfortable FIFA in my opinion, and I'm genuinely enjoying the game post-patch, at least so far. Nothing's really bothered me too much. It's been a fun game all the way around. But as we move on, we do more training. Like I said, you're going to see, I think, 4 or 5 training sessions in this episode, because I did have a couple weeks of a break before that Real Madrid game and then also before the Malaga game. So I was able to get a lot of training in. All my players are getting pretty close to moving up to another level or another attribute point in most of their attributes, so it's good to see that. Coming into the Real Sociedad game, obviously, just beating Real Madrid, I'm pretty confident, so I kind of want to get in the same team that I have been. I have, obviously, as you guys saw, I've been dropping Luna these past few games after he had those kind of shocking performances in those past couple episodes, and I dropped him last episode. Unico has come in, and he's been playing out of his mind, so it's good to have that second option, and Luna will definitely be making his way back into the squad in the future, because he is one of my favorite players in the squad, to be honest. I used to use him whenever he was playing at Aston Villa, when I used to do career modes with them back in some of the older FIFAs. So, like I said, coming into this game, feeling pretty confident. Not entirely sure how the game's going to go, but I was feeling confident. The team was playing well. There's a couple things that, I think we could change and get better at. Some of, like I said in the last game, I wasn't able to take advantage of some of the situations on the field, and that's really just me getting into the game a little bit more. But, just threw in a little training session there. I kind of leave those out of the video. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Me personally, they're not really that interesting to watch in my opinion. Coming into this game though, Carlos Vela, one of my favorite players in the game. Hard to go up against him. He's got a ton of pace, fair good shooting, very dangerous player all the way around. We do manage to pull the ball off of them right here at the start, but as I'm coming into this game, even off the start, I could tell the way Real Sociedad was set up, it was very defensive and then counter-attacking. As you see, right off the rip in the 3rd minute, we concede a goal. Right off the counter-attack, they were bossing the midfield. They were just drowning me in the midfield. It was very, it was much like a Pep Guardiola type of mentality with the team, where they just kind of threw players at me in the midfield and kind of choked me out, and I wasn't able to get anything done. As you see, in the 45th minute, I think I had one chance in that first half that I didn't show you guys, but I mean, it really wasn't that good, and I just wasn't comfortable. I was consistently getting the ball taken from me. I wasn't really conceding much possession, because we were kind of just going back and forth in the midfield. As you see, I mean, some of their chances, it just gets scrappy the deeper we get into this game. Here in the 78th minute, it's just a lot of kind of over-the-top through balls and early crosses that just aren't comfortable for either team. They really didn't have many chances more than me, but they managed to get that counter attack off the start of the game, and it really hurt me, and I just wasn't able to come back from it. As we get a little deeper into the game, I think this is the last chance that they had, which honestly they should have scored right there. As I was saying earlier, he's one of my favorite players, but that was a pretty ugly miss for him. I should have really gone down 2-0, but once they get possession of the ball, I couldn't get it back because they were just holding it, trying to obviously waste as much time as possible. So coming out of this game, it was a little disappointing to lose 1-0. I believe that also allowed Real Madrid to take back 5th place. So beating Real Madrid, high note. Losing to Real Sociedad, not necessarily a low note, but it was a little disappointing at the end of the day. My main focus, however, was as I saw that Malaga game coming up, I knew that even though it wasn't my main focus this season, that I did want to go ahead and try to get that win. So maybe that's kind of where my mindset was, trying to get ready for the game and kind of just using this as more of a feeling out. And obviously being on that high after Real Madrid, I guess I played a little cocky, and that's why I ended up conceding that counter attack early on in the game. I could just never get back into the game. But other stuff I did want to talk about in this episode is kind of maybe getting you guys involved a little bit, trying to see, who should I bring in the January transfer window. I have a few ideas, a few positions I want to go ahead and strengthen. My main focus at the end of this season is going to kind of be trying to keep the players that I've had on loan and making sure that I can keep them in the squad on a permanent basis or on a loan basis. Like when Inui goes back to his club, I will probably just try to get him on a 2-year loan, mainly because I believe he is 27. So for me, once you get closer to that end of your career, for me to buy you and shell out the money, really, I don't know if it's going to be worth it, because he's a good player. He's not the best player. I think I could upgrade better, but he is a player that I want to keep in the squad, so it is cheaper for me to try to get him out on a 2-year loan. I don't know if it's going to work, but I would like to give it a shot. As you see, I am offered a position to take over Udinese in Italy, but I am 100% into this Eibar career mode and very interested in working my way through the squad. You see here, like I did say, his overall is 61 right now. His potential is 72 to 90, so definitely a good player that I wanted to check out. When you guys are scouting out for youth players, you always want to make sure that the scout that you're using is put in his home country, or if you have a 5-star recruit, then you can kind of move him around wherever you want, and you're gonna find really good players anywhere. So put him in a country that you kind of like to strengthen. Like me putting him in the US will actually help me down the road here in maybe a couple seasons. If I want to take over the US manager role, I'm going to have players that I personally am strengthening to strengthen the US squad. In the past, I've done that with South Korea, the United States, and England, and countries like that. Just trying to strengthen the international squad as well as my own squad, just kind of getting players that me personally I'm going to be interested in. But coming into this game, the aggregate is 1-1. We did get the away goal, so I was playing a little bit more defensive in this game. Arguably probably not my best decision, especially with playing in the snow. There's a lot more sliding around, a lot more flukiness happens whenever it is in these weather conditions. I found myself chasing the ball a lot in this episode, and if you're going to take that mentality against the legendary CPU, you're going to run into a lot of problems. And luckily, I managed to find a couple holes here and there, because as Real Sociedad bossed the midfield and shoved people down, it felt like Getafe was really more so worried about the flanks and trying to counterattack that away and then crossing the ball in. So I was able to boss the midfield a little bit more and get a little bit more possession, but at the same time, like I said, I was chasing the ball, I was tackling early. I just wasn't feeling comfortable in the early stages of this game. And it puts me in a really bad position to give up a really fluky goal right here, where I couldn't pass the ball out, and it just fell awkwardly to one of their strikers, and he was able to shoot a wonder goal, which good on him. It was a beautiful goal, and Part of me wanted to argue that it was fluky, but at the same time, they took the opportunity given to them, and I couldn't get the ball out, and that's all on me. Passing the ball out is a lot harder in this game than it has in past FIFAs, which is good because let's be honest, it's not realistic to just consistently be passing the ball out. Here at the end of the first half, they were kind of holding the ball back in their own half after they took it away from me, so I got a little impatient and kind of dove in. Like I said, I was feeling really impatient in this first half. I was chasing the ball and I wasn't comfortable. They were moving the ball around in a way that I couldn't really read, and it was actually kind of throwing me off a little bit. I think it's because I did get used to how I was playing against Real Sociedad, so to come in and play against a completely different type of team kind of threw me off. But coming into the second half, I do get a little more comfortable here. I'm able to read the passes a little bit better, and my defense is a little bit stronger. It's really still not ideal or where I want it to be, but here in the 60th minute, I am able to kind of pull off the ball. And I've noticed post-patch that this has been happening. It's happened a couple times in the previous games that I was playing before I started recording. The keeper is starting to pass the ball out as the CPU, and me playing head-to-head, I guess it's just natural instinct for me to try to guess where they're going to pass if they do try to pass it out playing against other people, because people love to do that in FIFA, so you always want to try to get out in front and try to capture that goal. So managed to get a lucky break there and pulling that goal, and we had a couple chances for the both of us coming into the end of the game, but nothing really concrete, and we do actually end up going into extra time, as you guys can probably tell, because we're getting close to the end of this game but not close to the end of the episode. I have a couple chances here that I genuinely thought I should be winning this game. I felt really comfortable in the second half. I was bossing the game. Everything felt comfortable. My passing was on target, and it just felt good. And you can see this keeper, I don't know if that's just the type of keeper he is, or if that's just a post-patch update with keepers, but they're a little more ballsy, they're a little more adventurous, and I don't really like, if that was my keeper, I would be genuinely irritated, because that's just stuff that you shouldn't even be trying to do, especially in a 1-1 tied game for the cup. It was a lot of weird stuff going on in this game, and right here, like I said, nearing the end of the game, I missed some awesome opportunities I could have had to pull this game back. I'm given a lovely place for a free kick. Obviously, I would like it a little bit more to the midfield, but I can move from this area. They do go down to 10 men, which you'll see coming into the extra time. Again, I really couldn't take advantage of it as much as I should have. Right here, though, that ball just got so scrappy. I thought it was going to fall to my feet. I was honestly kind of bobbing and weaving through the defense, kind of hoping that I could pull a penalty, because I didn't think I could really get a shot off anywhere in the box, because there were so many people sitting in the box that if I didn't get a header, there was no chance. So I was kind of trying to go for the penalty. I didn't get anything. They didn't really bait on it. So we do end up going into extra time. And like I said, I'm not too worried about it. This is the round of 32. So if I lost this game, I wouldn't be too hurt. But, anytime you play FIFA, once you put that time investment into the game, you want to win, because you don't want it to go to waste that you just spent, a full 90 plus the extra time just to go to penalties. So you see, nearing the end of that first half of extra time, I had multiple chances that I genuinely thought I should have put away. The keeper started playing really well nearing the end of the game. Vardy, I bring him in. That's Kiko. I believe that was actually Vardy. I think they just showed Kiko. But I tried to do the exact same thing that I did against Real Madrid, and I just couldn't get the shot. I get a little impatient, start taking a little more shots from outside the box, just trying to, get some sort of wonder goal. I actually genuinely lost my mind when they almost made that goal, but I was so happy it came off the crossbar, because that was their one shot. in this extra time period that was actually on target or actually like threatened me. So if I would have been scored on by that, I mean, it was a beautiful goal if it would have gone in. But you know, like I said, I was bossing ever since the second half started into the extra time. I felt really comfortable in this game. So I had all the confidence in the world that I was going to win. But you know, anytime you go into PKs, fluky things can happen, and you could just as easily end up losing a game that you should be winning. So you know, I get that last chance right there at the end of extra time. I have a corner right here that doesn't end up panning out, and we do end up going into extra time. Into penalties. It's a little nerve-wracking going against the CPU in penalties. If you do it often enough, you will start to notice a pattern in penalties, and you'll see. I think I've come to the fact that I've realized that the CPU goes down the middle every time that it's their first PK. I didn't think about that until after the penalty, obviously, but I mark my words on that. If you try it, I'm pretty sure if you're playing the legendary CPU, they stay down the middle. And never go down the middle against the CPU, as they seem to always keep their body there. Getafe loses all composure in penalties, though, and you see that one just rocket off the side, and I realize, you know, if the keeper's not going to move, I'm well aware of this. For whatever reason, like I said, keepers like to stay down the middle on PKs. So I just, you know, do some weak penalties off to both sides, knowing that I could just keep shooting and then I'll eventually win penalties as long as I don't mess anything up. Coming out right here, I knew regardless, as long as I made my next one, I would win. But they do end up hitting the post. I celebrate with my keeper like I actually just did something, even though I did nothing. At the end of the day, it's a good win. We are going to go into the round of 16. So, you know, the further I get into this cup, the more interested I'm going to get into winning. So if I can lock down at least a top 10 placing, if not top 5 placing, closer to the end of the season, I'm definitely going to start playing my full team in the cup matches and go ahead and try to win it, because I do want to try to get silverware. Obviously, everyone wants trophies at the end of the season, so it's definitely something that I'm interested in. But this was a long episode. I hope you guys stayed tuned through the entire thing. Make sure you subscribe for more. I'll have another episode out tomorrow. See you later.